He was the ultimate American icon, rugged, noble, untouchable. But behind Gary Cooper's all-American smile was a hidden list. A list of 7 men. Men he once loved, resented, or both. Hollywood never dared speak their names, but he did, in private, bitterly. These were the 7 gay actors Gary Cooper allegedly hated the most, yet secretly dated. The truth? It's more shocking than any role he ever played. Gary Cooper was born Frank James Cooper in 1901 in Helena, Montana. Raised on a sprawling ranch, he grew up riding horses and working hard, developing the kind of rugged strength that would later define his on-screen image. He was tall, 6 feet 3 inches, with a frame built for westerns and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of generations. Sent to England for school as a teenager, Cooper returned to the U.S. after World War I. He studied art in Iowa, hoping to become an illustrator. But a car accident forced him to pivot, and he moved to Los Angeles. At first, it was just to draw, but Hollywood had other plans. By 1926, he landed a small role in The Winning of Barbara Worth. That small role changed everything. With the silent era still strong, Cooper's natural presence stood out. As sound came in, he didn't just survive, he thrived. Unlike actors who performed for the back row, Cooper whispered, and people leaned in to listen. In a town full of loud personalities, Gary Cooper's quiet restraint made him magnetic. He wasn't flashy or overbearing, he didn't need to be. His understated strength and stoic charm spoke volumes on screen. With standout performances in The Virginian, 1929, Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, 1936, and Sergeant York, 1941, Cooper quickly became a household name. His role in Sergeant York earned him his first Academy Award, and a second followed in 1952 for High Noon, a film that resonated as a powerful allegory for standing alone against injustice. To audiences, Cooper was the ultimate American hero, strong, silent, and unwavering. But away from the camera, his life was far more complex. In 1933, Cooper married Veronica "Rocky" Balfe, a poised New York socialite and brief film actress known as Sandra Shaw. Rocky was elegant, devoutly Catholic, and well-connected. Her uncle, Cedric Gibbons, famously designed the Oscar statuette. Together, they had one daughter, Maria, in 1937. To the outside world, they looked like Hollywood's golden couple. Behind the scenes, however, Cooper's irresistible charm led to numerous affairs. One relationship stood out above the rest: his passionate, years-long romance with actress Patricia Neal, 25 years his junior. Their connection was undeniable, fierce, emotional, and impossible to hide. It became an open secret in Hollywood. Yet Cooper was torn between the passion he felt for Patricia and the moral obligations he couldn't abandon. His Catholic faith, loyalty to Rocky, and concern for his daughter's future weighed heavily. In the end, Cooper made his choice, not for love, but for duty. He refused to divorce Rocky, not for Patricia, not for anyone. When the affair ended, Patricia Neal was left heartbroken, and so was Cooper. He spiraled into guilt and quiet despair, burdened by a love he couldn't keep and a life he couldn't change. His silence may have seemed like strength, but perhaps it was survival. For decades, rumors whispered through Hollywood corridors. Gary Cooper wasn't just battling emotional guilt, he was hiding deeper truths. According to a draft memoir discovered after his death in a trunk in Montana, Cooper allegedly had intimate relationships with 7 famous male actors, and eventually came to resent every one of them. If the writings are real, they paint a portrait of a man tormented by secrecy, betrayal, and internal war. The names are staggering: Cary Grant, The Pretender; They allegedly met in Palm Springs. Cooper wrote, "He laughed at everything I said. It felt real, until it didn't." After a tabloid spotted them, Grant disappeared. Cooper was crushed. Rock Hudson. The illusion. Young, statuesque, irresistible, but always distant. He'd charm me all night and vanish by morning. I was stretched across a year like a one-night stand. Randolph Scott. The rival. A fellow Western icon. Their alleged bond was strained by jealousy and Grant's affections. I didn't just lose a role, I lost a reason to trust. Anthony Perkins. The projection. Cooper saw his younger self in Perkins. Sensitive, afraid, brilliant. But fear consumed Perkins, and when he pulled away, Cooper felt used. He made me the villain in his mind. Montgomery Clift. The mirror. Their connection ran deep, achingly so. Monty wasn't easy to love, but Cooper couldn't turn away. "Loving Monty was like hugging barbed wire," he wrote. "You bleed, but you don't let go." It was passion tangled in pain. Tab Hunter, the rebound. Strikingly handsome but emotionally distant, their alleged fling was short-lived and transactional at best. Cooper, wary of betrayal, later accused Hunter of leaking intimate details to the press. Whatever existed between them vanished quickly, leaving behind only whispers and a sense of being used. James Dean. The Fire. Perhaps the most shocking name linked to Cooper was Dean. The two reportedly shared a brief, fiery connection, one marked by intensity and regret. "He lived like the world owed him," Cooper once reflected. "I gave him more than I should have." After Dean's sudden death, Cooper hauntingly wrote, "He robbed me of the chance to hate him in person." In the final chapters of his life, Gary Cooper was no longer defined by stardom, but by silence. Once the embodiment of American masculinity, Cooper became a man who spoke less, revealed little, and withdrew into a private world far removed from the lights of Hollywood. The rumors that swirled around him, unconfirmed memoir fragments, whispers from the fringes of old studio backlots, may never be fully verified. Yet even as speculative narrative, these fragments offer something rare and powerful, a haunting look at what it might have felt like to be adored by millions, and still never be fully seen. He was tall, stoic, gentle in demeanor, and reserved in both life and art. Audiences loved him for his quiet strength. But what if that strength was also a shield? What if the man who defined honor, heroism, and restraint on screen was battling emotions, desires, and regrets he could never express in public? Behind the cowboy hats and military uniforms, there may have been a man torn in half, between the image the world demanded and the truth he was never allowed to live. By the late 1950s, Cooper's once robust health began to fail. Diagnosed with prostate cancer, he chose to fight the disease in the same way he lived, privately, quietly, and without drama. The illness spread to his bones and lungs. He rarely spoke of it. He didn't stop working. In fact, he filmed right up to the end. His final performance in The Naked Edge was released posthumously in 1961. It was a farewell laced with the same dignity and subtlety that had marked his entire career. Throughout his illness, one constant remained: his family. His wife, Veronica "Rocky" Balfe, never left his side. A former actress turned socialite turned devoted partner, Rocky stood by him through decades of public scrutiny and private struggles. Their daughter, Maria, stayed close too. She had grown up away from the spotlight, raised with care and protection by both parents. In the end, as Cooper faced mortality, he wasn't alone. He was surrounded by those who had loved him not for his fame, but for his soul. In his final years, Gary Cooper turned inward. The man who had once distanced himself from religion began to embrace the Catholic faith of his wife and daughter. Perhaps it was comfort. Perhaps it was repentance. Perhaps it was simply the only language left to explore peace, forgiveness, and meaning. Initially, he was buried in California, close to the industry that made him a star. But Rocky later moved his remains to Sacred Heart Cemetery in Southampton, New York. A quiet, sacred place, far from red carpets and studio gates. A place more fitting for the man he had become. Or perhaps the man he had always been, beneath the image. Gary Cooper starred in over 80 films, won 2 Oscars, and helped define American cinema. But his greatest legacy may lie in what he didn't say. The silences, the restraint, the quiet battles. If the rumors are true, he lived a life divided between public image and private truth. And even if they aren't, his story still reveals the weight of performing masculinity, of hiding emotion to fit an ideal. He was the man America trusted most, but maybe he never got to trust himself. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories. And hit the bell, because real drama starts when the cameras stop rolling.